Sam Rinella Jr.
When I set the goal to play the PGA Tour, one of the things I had in the back of my mind is I wanted to be able to come back to Quincy and have an event, share professional golf with the area. And when I qualified in June of 1977, I got my card. I got through my first year. I came back and sat down with my dad and talked about this. And one of his first comments was that if you want to get something done in Quincy, you need to call Sam Rinella.
Whether it was raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity or saving a local school, Sam Rinella Jr., the co-founder of the Rinella Company, was often at the helm of the effort. Born in Galesburg, Illinois in 1927, Rinella graduated from Knox College and entered the family business, a produce, frozen food, and beer and liquor wholesaler. 4 short years later, in 1953, Rinella and 2 longtime associates formed MRS Beverages in Quincy, starting the Anheuser-Busch distributorship that would serve Galesburg, Quincy, and Hannibal. People warned that a new business couldn't survive in a community with a half-dozen other distributors.
Because he was always looking forward, not backwards. And he was always doing things for the long term. You know, no matter what the short-term consequences were or people said, you're not, you're doing it wrong. If it was right for the long term, he was going to do it. So he didn't really listen to the naysayers. He always said, if you do something, the naysayers, well, he got lucky. And if it goes wrong, the naysayers are going to say, I told you so. So he goes, you can't worry about them. You got to worry about what you want to do and go out and do it.
Just 5 years later, the company expanded to St. Charles, Missouri, which was sold back to Anheuser-Busch in the late 1970s. After MRS Beverages dissolved, Rinella continued with his sons as the Rinella Company and built the company's current 32,000 square foot distribution facility at 2001 Seminary Road in 1981. In 1983, the company expanded to Mundelein, Illinois, near Chicago. What started as a 3-man operation had grown to nearly 75 employees.
It was a partnership. He got to know his employees. He got to know their families. We always had big Christmas parties, and we always had a picnic during the summertime. And, it was just, he was out to help them, and he knew they were out to help him. And that was always the relationship with his employees. He let you make mistakes, but not twice, not the same mistake twice. He would let you know about it, but he was very positive. So, everything was moving forward, and, hard work will get the job done. And if you work hard enough, you'll get lucky.
Rinella was active in his industry, serving 3 years on the Anheuser-Busch Wholesale Advisory Panel and serving as the Illinois Director and on the National Management Committee of the National Beer Wholesalers Association. He served as chairman of the board of directors of the Quincy Area Chamber of Commerce, and he helped organize the first Dogwood Festival. He has also been active in fundraising for the United Way, YMCA, and Quincy University. He was elected to the Quincy Public School Board, serving 2 terms and 2 years as president. He served for 15 years on the board of directors for Transitions and for 2 years as its president. Recently, Rinella served on the commission to remodel the Lincoln Douglas Memorial in Washington Park. He is also an active member of St. Peter Catholic Church. Rinella married Patricia Colwell in 1954, and the couple had 6 children. They were his passion in life, and their interests and needs led to even more community involvement.
So when we had our first sons entering in Notre Dame and to what was then called Christian Brothers School, they made the announcement they were going to close or pull out of Quincy, and we phone called all over the world looking for an order to take over that school. We found an order up in Chicago, I think it was, the surveyed order that sent 4 people down here, for 2 priests and 2 brothers down here to run the school, and that's kept the school open.
Rinella helped make the appeal to the Quincy community for funding, and faculty was hired for the newly formed Catholic Boys High School. Rinella became president of the board. This interim school provided the link to a merger 3 years later with the School Sisters of Notre Dame that resulted in the present-day Quincy Notre Dame High School at 10th and Jackson. Rinella's daughter Jennifer was born severely handicapped, and financial woes at the organization now known as Transitions led to the D.A. Weibring Pro-Am Golf Tournament.
My wife and I went to the YMCA to see a swimming class that you saw moms and dads in the pool with their kids, and that pretty much cemented it for us. We wanted to have a charity that we felt close to. We hadn't had our first child yet. That really hit home with us. The goal was at first to raise some dollars to be able to support that swimming program. They were going to lose that, and we eventually went on and did many things in 25 years.
The tournament raised more than $750,000 over its 25-year run for children and adults with disabilities.
I remember in the early 80s, life got tough. I mean, interest rates were ridiculous. We had just went up and purchased a distributorship up in Mundelein, north of Chicago, and money was tight. And we were looking at ways to cut our budget to make things work. And one of the things was, he was always giving to charities, and he gave pretty good amounts. And we said, why don't we cut back on that? And he said, no, because they need the money more than we do, and forge ahead.
You never saw Sam without a smile on his face, but I just always appreciated his energy, his attitude, his positive take on anything that he got involved with.
He's got an obvious handicap to people that don't know him, but people that know him don't notice it. He never let that be an excuse. He did everything he wanted to do, no matter whether it's playing golf, playing tennis. The only time I ever heard him use his arm as an excuse is when he went to change my son's diapers. And then my mom blew that up, and that wasn't happening. But he never thought about it. He overcame it.
Rinella retired from the company in 1998. His sons now own and operate the distributorships. Rinella and his wife enjoy their grandchildren and winter in Arizona.